Well, this is the Brasserie. This is not exactly what we usually think of as DK Stewart location.
It's not my normal haunt.
Yeah.
And actually, the last time I did a single solo gig like this, it was in the mid 80s at a place called Digger Odell's. And they were the only place in town that served anything remotely New Orleans. And they had a real great gumbo and a bunch of Cajun dishes.
So what do you do when you play solo?
Normally I start out kind of light, and ease into some light blues and sort of quasi-jazzy things, and then as the night progresses, I'll start singing, and then before people start throwing fruit or vegetables at me, I time it to where they've had enough cocktails in them to where it doesn't really matter what I'm doing. so I sneak up on them, basically. I'm sneaking around. And these guys have really been nice to me. They're trying to recapture their clientele, after being down for a while.
So we're so used to seeing you at just wailing in a roadhouse somewhere or a concert,
It's hard to think of me in any sort of quiet setting, probably.
You're pretty comfortable in those roadhouses, aren't you?
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Well, there's something about a nice, solid rhythm section going on behind you, and nailing something down on the piano, and like right now, the band that we call the festival band, the DK Stewart Sextet, has a horn section. We just started that a couple of years ago.
Who's in that band?
It's Peter Damon and Don Campbell and I have been doing it. Don recently took off in another direction. He's doing some country and western stuff, and he and his friend Al Lee wrote a book, and it's done really well. Perfect Breathing. So he's sort of stepped out for a while. John Mazzacco is playing bass now.
Aha.
Peter and I have been together for 20 some odd years. We've played in bands in and out, and he's been real committed to this thing since we started in 2004. It was initially the DK4, and then what was it? 2008, I think we started really getting serious about a horn section. Everybody else was cutting back.
Right.
So we decided to add more guys to the band. But what it did was tunes like, we like to do Percy Mayfield stuff, and we drift into some Charles Brown, and then we'll turn around and go, heavy Earl King and Street Parade. So the show vacillates quite a bit.
Nobody does Percy Mayfield.
I know, it's strange, isn't it?
And people have no idea who Percy Mayfield is. They don't know he hit the road jack.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, he wrote that. He wrote that. There's a clip of him on YouTube singing that in somebody's living room with some gal playing the piano behind him. It's hilarious. But yeah, he's just.
Too bad it wasn't you.
Yeah, he's a huge influence to me, since I didn't really figure him out until I was like in my early 20s. And of all people, Paul DeLay turned me on to Percy Mayfield. And we actually learned that song in the first version of the Paul DeLay band that I was in, and kept it kind of over the years. What a Fool I Was.
Yeah.
Which he's got that really kind of easy going thing, but as far as singing goes, but there's a tremendous force of the band behind him. And that's what I like, is that subtlety of really fat arrangement-dependent chords going on, at the same time that there's a real simple lilting melody that has always been really attractive to me. But I was starting to tell you about the band. Chris Mercer on saxophone. Chris has got a huge history.
In case people don't know.
Oh my God, Chris! He started out, with John Mayall and the Blues Breakers, and came out of England, and he was with Juicy Lucy and Mad Dogs and Englishmen, and oh my gosh, I don't think there's too many people over there that he didn't play with. You know, he was just all over the place. Brian Ferry, that's a good one.
Jeez.
If you want to see something neat, type in Chris Mercer and Brian Ferry on the internet, and you'll see him when that model was going out with Brian Ferry, the one that ended up marrying Mick Jagger. What's her name? Gosh, I'm really dating myself here. I'm having Davesheimer's.
That's okay.
But anyway, Chris is all over the internet. Joe McCarthy, although he won't admit it, has been around in the wings since early Cray Band days. I've got a picture of him playing with the Crayhawks at a festival in Cottage Grove where they filmed Animal House. You know, back that far.
Yeah.
So he and I go way back, and then of course I started to say Peter. Peter and I knew each other back when he was working with the Delay Band quite a bit, but we didn't really start playing with each other a bunch until I got back from Gonzaga in '92. And since then, it's been, you know, anytime I could, I grabbed Peter. Nobody can do that. Well, not very many people can do what Peter does. I know really good soloists, and I know really good comp guys, but to have them both in the same person, it's really amazing.
It's an odd combination because the personality is usually one or the other.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. The guy comps just like a dream. You know, he really provides a strong rhythmic texture to anything you're doing. And then when you want him to step out, it's like it's all over it.
So if you're sitting there, so you're in a roadhouse, you got your guys.
Yeah.
What does that do for you? When you're all well and it's all working.
When everything is well oiled and working good, that's my favorite band, a big band. You know, we got Corey Burton on the drums because he's a big band drummer. He's a big stage guy. Of course, he laughs and says, "You mean I'm loud?" but no, it's not that. It's more a question of having that really strong foundational presence. And that's what really puts the hair up on the back of my neck, is having that behind me. And it does something. It creates like a third person, or I guess it would be a seventh person in the band. And I always feel like I have an extra guy, you know, that's kind of helping me. And so, yeah, it's a tremendous feeling to be in front of a band, especially guys, you know, that have been in the business as long as like Corey and John Mazzacco recently, you know. John and I go back to early Paul Delay days. We used to call John when Don Campbell couldn't do the gig with Paul Delay. So, I mean, these are all guys that are seasoned vets that have been around for years and years and know what to do on a stage. So the favorite being the sextet band. We're up and down between Seattle and San Francisco, as many festivals as we can get in during the summer. And then when that ends, which is usually October, between March and October is the festival season anymore. Then we look for recordings, which we're in the middle of right now.
Are you? With that band?
Yeah, with the sextet.
Wow, what are you doing?
Well, I've written a bunch of original stuff.
Oh.
And I kind of like to do another original. I haven't done an original record since '95.
Yeah, wow.
The last one I did with Carlton Jackson and Peter and Don was the DK4 CD. There's only one original cut on there.
So what do you find yourself writing? What's coming out?
Well, sort of. Some of it's almost blues rock.
Really?
You know, because you got that hammering piano going on. So rock and roadhouse. And then a lot. Some of it is very kind of romance, and we do a tune called "Take Me Back to That Good Time Feeling," which is about having a good time lover. Romance has quite a bit to do with with blues.
Yes.
You know, and it seems to be
lack of,
right. It's really easy to write about, and there's a lot of vowels that rhyme with love. You know? so that's an easy write for songwriters.
So where can we see you coming up next few weeks?
I'm going to be at Duff's Garage with the Sextet on the 3rd of December.
Right.
And then we're playing New Year's Eve, and we're making it a kind of a New Orleans flavor there. We've got Mr. Steve Caron.
At Duff's?
At Duff's. Steve's going to open for us on just piano. Steve and I have been hooking up here lately. His band Atomic Gumbo is quite the exciting venture, and I've done a few gigs with him, and so he's going to open for us. And,
Well, one of the most amazing gigs I ever saw with you and Steve involved was where it was the four of you guys,
oh yeah,
Janice and David Vest at the Blues Festival 2 years ago.
that was fun.
That was-
Yes, that was amazing. That was amazing. Well, I think that was
Four
when
pianos.
when I first met Steve was
Yeah.
during that piano-rama thing. We got to blame Peter for the piano-rama. He and David Vest, I think, were the engineers behind that. And speaking of big bands, as a matter of fact, I better say something about it. This Wednesday at the CBA monthly meeting, a friend of ours from Eugene, Barb Healy, has put together this big band with Peter Damon and a number of other people. The 9-piece, it's called the I-59, and we're going to open the meeting, I guess, at 8 o'clock there on Wednesday the 1st at the Melody Ballroom.
That's open to the public.
It is.
Very good.
It is. The only other thing I'm doing in December is I'm playing at Spirit Mountain on the 10th and the 11th. And there, I move it back to a trio, a quartet at best, but usually it's a trio over there. So, but I'm excited about New Year's. That's just going to be nuts. At Duff's Garage. Oh my God, it'll be packed. A gal by the name of Yvonne is cooking up gumbo. So.
And at midnight.
At midnight, all hell's going to break loose. Yeah.